Hello everyone, Alan Clark from the Recruiting Gym. So, what's my motivation for getting my ass down the gym, particularly on a cold day like today? Well, actually, I like to look good. I like to feel good, and that's why I put a little bit of oomph into my training when I go down the gym. Why? Because I'm a great believer in the mind-body link. If you look good, you feel good. And I think any business owner out there, any manager, any person of decision-making authority or power within a business will also want their business to look good and feel good. Of course, when they look at their business, they want it to be in good shape. They want strong profits. They want a good standing in the marketplace. They want a healthy share price. They want to be able to have good market share. And let's face it, motivation, we all need it. Some people, they get it from within. Some people, they get it from others. Some people definitely need it from others. Some people lack it. Some people don't know what it is or don't know how to get it. And some people are just darn right demotivators. Someone once told me that these people are called negatrons, and they shouldn't really be negatrons. They should be more Optimus Primes. And if you haven't watched the Transformer movies, that last reference will have gone completely over your head. A bit much like the movies, actually. So what I want to do is talk about motivation from a client's point of view within BD. So I've got 4 questions that I want to deal with. What motivates a client to hire? What motivates a client to work with a recruiter? Why is client motivation important? And the 4th one, what can we do to motivate clients? So let's deal with the first question then. What motivates clients to hire? Now, this could be for a number of internal or external factors, and years ago I was told that clients really only hire for one of 2 reasons: to either solve a problem or to realize an opportunity. Now, problems, it could be that they've got a project that they're working on that has fallen behind and they need to get somebody in to get that project back on track. Perhaps, for example, they're losing money. And of course, that could be a great opportunity if it's an urgent position to get somebody in on a contract basis, although, yes, they might consider perm as well, but they'll usually say ASAP. Someone might have resigned and that's created a void. It's created a skills gap. They've got experience leaving the office and going to a competitor right now. And this could have an impact on staff morale. Now the people that are left behind are having to work harder. They're having to work longer hours. They're taking on additional responsibilities. And of course, that could have a ripple effect. In other words, somebody else might want to leave now as a result of that other person resigning. Perhaps the company has had to undergo a restructuring. Perhaps there are market forces at play here, economy, executive decisions. Maybe it's just poor company performance. It could be poor leadership. It could be poor management, problems with their products and services that they're out there offering. Whatever the problem is, we, or rather you, need to identify it. So, how motivated would the client be to hire right now if they've got all of those problems? They might also be motivated to hire if there is an opportunity to take advantage of. Maybe they spotted a gap in the marketplace. Maybe they've got a brand new product or service that they want to put out to marketplace. Maybe they're opening up new offices. Maybe they're expanding into new territories, developing or expanding their reach, might even be developing new markets. There might even be a higher demand for their particular product or service, and they want to take advantage of that additional or higher demand. Maybe they want to be able to increase their presence and increase their market share. Now, what client is not going to be motivated by taking advantage of those opportunities? Now, of course, we have to address, it's not even an elephant in the room anymore, is it? It's COVID. This has obviously negatively impacted motivations to hire. It's negatively impacted on hiring plans. And there might well be clients out there who desperately want to hire. There is need, there is a pain, but they just don't have the budget. And then conversely, you've got other market sectors that have been positively impacted by COVID because there is an additional demand for their products or their services. I know it's easy to say delivery drivers, people involved in supply chain, producing, online goods, maybe even sort of additional technical and technology demands. So the second question I want to deal with is what motivates a client to work with a recruiter? Well, ultimately, a client's going to engage with you, a recruiter, if they can see value in your proposition. They are often demotivated by the fact that they get a lot of unsolicited, unresearched, unplanned, poor approaches, which unfortunately tarnishes our industry. But they would be motivated by a recruiter who understood their pain points, who empathized with their current situation, and had an excellent value proposition or recruitment solution that basically alleviated all of their pain points with a minimal amount of hassle. Now, in my business development and retaining training, I talk about the 7 dominant buying motives. Look, we all have buying motives, but these are specific to clients, and they'll buy from you if you can hit one or any combination of these dominant buying motives. Can you, for example, save them money? Can you save them time? Can you make them money? Can you make them look or feel good? Can you help them to survive? Can you give them that peace of mind? And can you take away the recruitment hassle? Believe you me, if you hit one or any combination of those, they will be motivated to work with you. So why? Why is client motivation important? And some of you watching this, you might be thinking, duh, Alan, that's a bit obvious, isn't it? But unfortunately, clients don't always make their motivations obvious. Sometimes they're quite difficult to spot. And they're even more difficult to spot if you're not dealing directly with the decision maker, the hiring authority, or you're working through electronic mediums like portals, or you're only being able to communicate via email. So client motivation has to be identified because it's going to help you to decide A, whether or not to work with that client, and B, whether or not you're going to put any time and effort into trying to fill their roles. If they're not motivated, you're basically wasting your time and you're not going to get any financial returns for this whatsoever. This is the sort of client that you'll be sending over CVs to, maybe even arranging interviews, and then you hear nothing. You hear nothing for days, sometimes even weeks. And then when you do try and get hold of them, guess what? They're not available. And then of course the candidate drops out. You lose control of the process. It all gets very frustrating, to say the very least. Now, your clients might have valid reasons for this tardy response, but it certainly doesn't help you. Client motivation is crucial because it's going to help you to control the process. It's going to help you to influence the timelines, the outcomes, the next steps. You can even influence the client's behavior. This isn't about controlling and manipulating the client. It's about recognizing their genuine motivators and then selling back to those, or at least encouraging them to proceed to the next step. Now, if the client is definitely in pain and they're highly motivated and it's an urgent position, then of course it could be great for contracts and temp roles. If they're struggling to fill the role, if for example they've tried lots of other methods of recruitment and failed and it's critical to their business, then these are good retainer opportunities. The more difficult the role is, the more urgency there is. If they're losing money, surely the client's motivations are going to be sky high. So the fourth and final question then, what can you do to motivate your clients? Now, a lot of your motivation is going to come from the client's motivation. So I believe that through intelligent and well-placed questions during the process, more so at the start of the process, it's going to certainly be of advantage to you. Initially, we need to find out what are their challenges, what are their problems, what are their pain points, what are their frustrations. Perhaps maybe other recruiters have let them down previously. So ask them a few key questions. And the questions I'm going to put on screen, they're not an exhaustive list, but a few that perhaps you can use. So how happy are you with your current recruitment methods? How do you feel about working with recruiters? What challenges are you facing with your current agencies? What is it that you're not able to do as a result of this role not being filled? Why are you recruiting for this role? What would happen if you weren't able to fill it by X date? What criteria do you use to exclude agencies from working with you? And finally, how would the team or the project benefit from having this role filled? So the answers to these questions are crucial for you so that you know what product or service, what part of your solution you're going to recommend. And you can use the answers to these questions to motivate the client, to move forward, to proceed, to respond, to sign, to act, maybe even to make the offer. For example, you might say something like, Mr. Client, you mentioned that if you didn't fill this role by X date, that this would have an adverse effect on your ability to secure future projects and revenue streams. Is that right? So bottom line, if they're hurting and you've reminded them of that pain point, they are going to be motivated. They're going to be motivated ideally to work with you. Now, if you are motivated to find out a little bit more about business development, the fundamentals, or how to sell retainers, then do what I said at the start. Get your ass in the gym. Have a look at the courses we have on offer. And we do like to leave you with some workouts. And for me, the 2 workouts are around, I would certainly encourage you to have a look at any clients that you've got, any jobs you're working on right now where it's almost as if they're dragging, you're not getting anywhere, maybe the client's not getting back to you. I would take this as an opportunity to maybe think that they're not as motivated as you thought they were. Maybe their motivations have changed. So go back and requalify their motivations. And the second part of the workout is please be on the lookout for any new clients that you pick up, any new jobs that you start working on. Make sure that the motivators are genuine. In other words, recognize those time wasters early doors. So, see you in the gym sometime.